We had an excellent Thanksgiving 500 yesterday morning, and now it is back to business here for these Turkey Hill Truck Series drivers. Only 5 races remain until we crown a champion a month from now on Christmas Day. And this championship battle is as tight as it has been all month long. Ludovic Charette only 12 points on the field. He starts 21st here tonight, and this is one of the wildest racetracks we go to all season long. It's the Menards 225 here at the Chicagoland Speedway. This is the 14th race of the season in the 2023 Turkey Hill Truck Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Chicagoland Speedway here on Black Friday. This is another traditional race that we do, the trucks at Chicagoland the day after Thanksgiving, and we're back here again. And we're going to have a lot of fun here tonight in this 38-lap event, especially considering after what happened last week with Ludovic Charette having all his issues and this championship battle closing right back up. And I mentioned Ludovic Charette starting 21st here tonight. He's only got 12 points on Bruno Diacomo, and Bruno Diacomo starts about 12 positions ahead of him here in this race. But there's also a lot of other drivers who are looking to strike, including our pole sitter, Andrew Williams, only 39 points behind. A huge opportunity for him if he can get his second win of the season. It's going to be a lot of fun, as it always is here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Joined alongside, once again, by Stuart Gratton and Matt Tuck. And Stuart, you got a driver in this championship battle. He starts a little bit deeper in the field, and so does Ludovic Charette. So what would your advice be to those championship contenders starting deeper in the field to work their way through the field to have a good opportunity at getting this race victory?
You've got to pick your moments. Obviously, you've got to be aggressive early on because that's where a lot of the passes are going to be made throughout this race. As the tyre wear comes in, it's going to be harder to pass. So if my two drivers, 25th and 27th, in the starting lineup. So be aggressive, but also be mindful of where to make your moves because you don't want to be getting into a 4-wide situation and being involved in an accident and really knocking them out of championship. Knocking them out of points range. So, got to be aggressive, but also just pick your moments and pick your points as to where you're going to make the passes.
And of course, Matt, this racetrack is definitely one of the wilder mile and a halves that we go to. You know that very well, obviously, with past races that we've had here. But what do you need to do to just run a clean race here at the Chicagoland Speedway and avoid being in those situations where you could get caught up in a wreck?
Be the leader at as much as you possibly can. Get the clean air and just be out in front because we've seen time and time and again it can turn into quite a chaotic scene in the mid-pack and in the back of the pack all throughout this racetrack here. So the best place to be, as always, it sounds cliche, but where's the best place to put the truck tonight? Out from front in position number 1 where you are controlling the race.
And we'll have to see if Andrew Williams can control this race from the pole position. Of course, Andrew's been a strong driver in this championship battle so far. Got the race victory at Pocono. And he only sits 39 points behind Ludovic Charette coming into this race. And you know what? If Ludovic has another poor race here tonight, he could find himself only 10 points behind going into our next race in Martinsville. And then with Talladega still in the mix, Andrew Williams could steal this championship here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. But so could the guy behind him there, Joe Rutkowski. As you see the points on your screen, he's only 40 points behind. Bruno Diacomo still very much in it, 12 points behind. Nicholas Samadio, 30 points behind. And then you have Thomas Trossel there, 44 points behind him. Those are the 6 guys who really have the best chance. Josh Williamson, Nathan Stapleton, Triad teammates, both 68 points behind. And don't count out Blaine Keys either. Your driver there, Matt, 69 points behind. Got the win last week at Iowa. If he gets another race victory, he's just going to keep on climbing in the points. But the downside to all of that for a lot of those guys who are 45 or higher behind the points leader, there's only 5 races left to go, and it's going to take a lot to make up that amount of a gap before the end of the season. But of course, Andrew Williams, he's close enough to mathematically take the points lead at the end of the night. Probably won't happen, but a race victory could give him an opportunity next week. He starts on the pole position alongside Nathan Ormond. And And right behind him, Rogel Dorn on a hot streak lately. 2 top 5s. Almost got the win last week at Iowa alongside Philip Torres there in row number 2. There's Josh Williamson, the Watkins Glen winner, to the inside of Brian Webb, who got the race victory at Rockingham. Aaron Abel to the inside of Avery Alford, a couple of guys who haven't had the best of seasons starting inside the top 10. And I'm looking at Joe Rutkowski long-term in this championship because of what he did a couple of years ago in this Truck Series. He is still very much in contention, and give him a shot at Homestead, he could pull it off. He's alongside Igor Brito there. Make up the final 10 positions. Diacomo starts in the 12th position right there. And we mentioned Ludovic Charette starting in the 21st position. Nicolas Sambadio third in points starting 25th. And Thomas Truxell is a little bit further up right there on the outside of Andrew Miller in the 18th position. Well, quickly, Matt and then Stewart, who do you guys think is going to get the victory here in the Menards 225?
Well, he's won one race before already that I was in the booth for. I think he's going to win for the pole, and Andrew Williams will find himself in victory lane again.
Josh Williamson in the 72. He's already got a victory lane once this year. Top 10 in points, so I think he can pull it off in 5th tonight.
We'll have to see if he can get his second win of the season. We've only had one driver win multiple races this season, that being Bruno Diacomo, and he did that early on in the season. Will we get 13 out of 14 here tonight? We'll have to see. We're green flag racing in the Windy City. We're underway in the Menards 225 on a Friday night. Andrew Williams in the number 52 will grab the race lead from the pole, lead lap number 1. That's a bonus point towards the championship for him right there. An all-important bonus point as well. Rogel Dorn up to second, and here's Josh Williamson taking third away from Orman, the outside lane. Not necessarily the best place to start here at Chicagoland, but as the race goes along, that outside lane does grip up quite a bit, and we'll see these guys utilize it to their advantage. Rutkowski on the outside, just as I was saying on Trey Bartow, going to take the advantage of his good friend right there. Philip Torres fell back, but it's a madhouse behind him around the 8th position.
And we're seeing an absolute slogfest here as guys and just jostling for position early on here. We see the 1 truck, the Iowa winner of Blaine Keys, moving his way through the field. We see this 4 truck, Rogel Dorn. He's had a very interesting past couple of weeks here, really giving as much of this as he can to Andrew Williams here in the early part of this race. He knows the value of this track position. Not going to get the pass done yet, but he is putting himself in position to contend for this race. What a great couple of races for Rogel Dorn, despite all the controversy that's been going on to that team.
And I'm proud of what he's been able to do as well, and excited to see what he's going to do in the Cup Series next year for Hamlin Racing Enterprises. I think he's going to propel that team to new heights the way he's been running here and the way he ran last year as well. Would like to mention about a 30-lap fuel run here tonight, so the cycle is going to be right near the end of this race, and that could get really interesting if that ends up staying the way it is, if it stays a green flag run, I should say, until that point. So if we end up with green flag pit stops right near the end of this race, things could definitely get interesting, and it's spread out quite a bit up front here. Trey Bartow making a move there on Ethan Orman for 5th. And Trey Bartow's had an interesting season. He's 12th in points. Of course, kind of lived in the shadow of his teammate Ludovic Charette so far there at Beacom Quantum Racing. Definitely a driver to watch out for as the season goes along. He's had a lot of good runs and has kept that team in the Owners' Championship lead up to this point. And speaking of Ludovic, he's actually around Bruno Diacomo right now, so good run for Ludovic up to the 15th position. A lot of these races he started up front and has fallen back. And right now, making the best of where he started, up 6 spots and ahead of his championship rival.
Yep, ahead of the 82, so that's all important. He just needs to keep him behind at this stage in the race, as everything's kind of calmed down. We saw a lot of 3-wide action. We see at times at Chicagoland, trucks hit the wall off of turn 4 if they step out of the groove a little bit too much, lose a bit of grip. Nobody did that. Everyone kept it straight, which is really, really important there. And now it's just a matter of finding your own rhythm, finding your own pace. And I tell you what, top 4's closed in all on each other. We know Dawn's going to give the 52 a bit of a shake, but Williamson and Rutkowski as well. We talked about Rutkowski being top 5 in points. and as a kind of like a dark horse. He's obviously a truck champion before, as Williamson goes for second.
And a good run here for Williamson on Rogaldorn. Andrew Williams is liking what he's seeing right now. He's led every lap so far in this race. And with where Williams is in the championship standings, I'm sure he'd absolutely love a second race victory. And like I mentioned before we started, we've only got one driver who's won multiple races so far this season, that being Bruno Diacomo. And considering that we have the ratings going on, that's a bit of a surprise. Of course, last season, Sebastian Kukulon and Laura Chung dominated the season, with Kukulon winning the championship. And a lot more parity this year. However, we're seeing the same guys run up front in a lot of these races at this point. And there's definitely a clear difference between the best drivers and the worst drivers. How about Rutkowski in this 36 for Millennium Motorsports? This team has yet to go to victory lane in the trucks, but they've had an excellent season, especially with Rutkowski, and this 36 machine may pull off the race victory here tonight.
He is moving his way through the field here, and he's got his co-commentator just chasing him down. In his tire tracks, Trey Barta's moving through the field, and these top 5 trucks have just absolutely separated themselves from Nathan Orman in 6th positions, having a very nice run. Stapleton in 7th, Blaine Keys up to 8th. So we're seeing some guys who need some really good runs here, having some great runs as Josh Williamson ducks to the inside, but for the moment, it's going to be interesting if this race plays out as another long green flag race. We've talked about it before. We haven't seen a caution in God knows how.
Yeah, Indianapolis Raceway Park, the last time we had a caution here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series there in the Lucas Oil 200. And we had a couple of them that night, but we have gone caution-free ever since. Ever since you guys joined me in the booth for that Watkins Glen race, we've been caution-free that whole time here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. But, hey, you know what? We like good, clean racing. That's what we've been getting. Trey Barto, how about this 18? He's going to drive by Rutkowski like it's nobody's business. He's got to the back bumper of Williamson. He's going to try to make a move for 3rd.
Off into 3 and 4. With turns 1 and 2 is where you want to try and get the pass done. We saw before Williamson looked like he almost cleared the 4, and then Rogaldorn was able to clear on the outside, and you see Barto slipping back into the clutches now of Rutkowski's. He just not enough grip on that inside through 3 and off of 4. Now Rutkowski right on the back. They are way, way gone, these top 5, and Orman holding his own in 6th at the moment. Keys in 7th. Keys is a driver that he's 9th in points. Got a win last week. He's really showing. He had a lot of speed in the Cup Series as well. He's someone that I don't know if he'll be in the championship contention in these last 5 races, but he's certainly showing his worth back end of the year.
Definitely a solid run last week at Iowa from the pole, and he's got another solid run going for him here at Chicagoland. To the inside of Orman there for 6th. More movement. Barto and Rutkowski get around Josh Williamson. That's going to allow Williams and Dorn the pull away. Andrew Williams, that is, who has had by far the more successful season compared to his older brother, Logan. Of course, Logan did get the win at Dover, but that was the highlight of his season, as Logan sits... Where does he sit? 16th in points. Andrew's 4th in points right there for Ryan Durrani Incorporated, or should I say Durrani Racing, changing their name for 2024. Excited to see that change, and we'll see who they end up with on the Cup side, because both of their drivers ended up leaving the team, and we'll just have to see who they end up with. Hey, Jesse Turner may be back next year, and I know Trey Barto's going to be looking for a ride, so, with how strong Durrani Racing has been here in the trucks, they carry that over into the Cup Series next year, and they get a driver like Turner, it could definitely be a threat for the championship. Rogaldorn to the inside for the race lead. And this time he might be able to get it to stick. That outside lane, though, is going to have a lot of grip with Andrew Williams, but Rogel's going to try to keep it on the inside going into turn number 1. Hey, we're almost halfway already here in this Menards 225. These guys have been flying by here at Chicagoland. Once again, we may be en route to another caution-free race here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. The next week, when we head to Martinsville, I don't know if it's going to stay that way. But, hey, you know what? We'll take it while we can. And these guys have been racing so clean all season long. We've been getting some good races out of it as well.
We definitely have. We've seen a lot of caution-free racing the past couple of races here, and seeing some more great racing here tonight as Andrew Williams, Rogaldorn just continue to pace the field here. See Blaine Keys up to 6th, but this top 5 have just absolutely just separated here. I mean, the only downside about this top 5, I haven't been able to spew any Grattan Autosport propaganda tonight, so that is unfortunate. But you see Rugal Dorn go to the inside of Andrew Williams. Andrew's just got
caution.
52.
Oh, and a hard hit for
goodness.
Logan Williams. And we were just talking about how Andrew's had the better season. Well, this right here is a great explanation of that. It looks like Eric Drew was caught up as well. And our first caution in over a month here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series has just commenced. The good news is this will split the cycle up. This will be the one stop of the race here, and they'll be good to go from here on out. But it's going to bunch all these guys back up on the restart. We're going to have ourselves a cycle of pit stops here right at halfway in this Menard's 225.
Funny stop time. You've got to get this. You've got to make sure it's clean pit stop, fast pit stop. You don't want to be losing ground on pit road, particularly if you're the 52, who's just led every lap tonight and has just been untouchable at the front. Need to make sure, particularly with that last pit stall, need to make sure you get this pit stop right.
And of course, that last pit stall can sometimes be a little edgy here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Certain racetracks, certain pit stalls just aren't as good as others, and I think here at Chicagoland, that first pit stall is one of the ones you don't particularly want to have. But we'll see what Andrew Williams can do here. Good news is he has no one in front of him to block his exit. I would imagine it's going to be a 4-tire stop, though, for all these guys. I don't think we're going to see a strategy like we saw last week at Iowa with Rogel Dorn taking the 2 tires there. It worked out well for Rogel. He ended up getting second place out of all that. But 4 tires for everybody right here. And Andrew Williams will, in fact, win the race off the pit lane. It's Rogel who has the poor pit stop. That's not good at all. That's a tough break for Rogel Dorn in the 4, who was running second at the time. And the pit crew not really coming up clutch right there. Josh Williamson second, Trey Bartow, and you were just mentioning Matt. Blaine Keys is up to 4th. Aaron Abel, Roberto Crown Jr., Joe Rutkowski, Nathan Stapleton, Ladovic Sharon in the top 10, trying to hold on to this points lead, and he's ahead of Bruno Diacomo as well, but Diacomo still relatively close to the 14. And Rogel Dorn, my goodness. He basically lost all that ground there on the pit lane. He's going to be deep in the field. Another guy deep in the field is Nicholas Samadillo, however. Not a good race for him. I know you don't like to see that, Stuart, considering where he was in the points coming into this race. We'll have to see what this restart can do. He won the IndyCar Series here back in July. Or no, was it June? I think it was June when that race was run. Either way, the only race that Samadillo has won this year, and also the closest finish of the year on the channel. We call him Mr. Edge for a reason. Hey, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution in over a month here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. Logan Williams getting hit significantly in turn number 2. Let's see what happened to bring out the caution here in the Menard's 225. Yeah, this is an interesting one right here. Zachary Fitzwater's a little too aggressive into the corner there on Logan Williams. Logan just wasn't anticipating it. It's going to send the 39 in the outside wall. Actually, Logan just kind of cut down, and Fitzwater was there. It was just... That 54 was faster, and the 39 was trying to keep him behind. And Eric Drew is going to come in, and he is the unfortunate victim of this one. As Logan comes back down the racetrack, and the 3 machine is going to pancake him right on the side. Actually, yeah, he actually kind of did pancake him. He just kind of scraped the back there, but it's enough to send that 39 around, enough to knock out Eric Drew from the race. But Logan's still out there in the 39. Keep that in mind. Tough break there for Logan Williams and Eric Drew. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. Our first caution since the Lucas Oil 200 IRP in the middle of October. And we're almost into December now. So it's been a while since we've seen these guys wreck here in the series, so... It's bound to happen at some point, and it did right there.
Well, as they head down into turn number 1, Zachary Fitzwater has been known to take out some cars lately. Cars, not trucks, and, that can go both ways. Fitzy didn't really give him any room whatsoever. Logan also didn't give him any room whatsoever. And then this poor man right here just got absolutely slapped around for it. But that's a tough way to end all these guys' days, and our first caution in a very long time here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. An impressive streak that these guys were on.
Yeah, it's a shame it had to end right there, but it was going to end next week anyway, so why not do it a week early? Andrew Williams won the race off the pit lane. Rogel-Dorn with a terrible pit stop. Second off the pit lane was Josh Williamson. So we'll have to see how it all goes down when we restart here in the Menards 225 at Chicagoland. We're back here at the Chicagoland Speedway here, the day after Thanksgiving. We had a great race yesterday in the Thanksgiving 500 as always, and the other traditional holiday race is this one, the Menards 225 here at Chicagoland. And hey, Andrew Williams has led every lap so far, but I think it's about to get a little dicey as we have had our first caution. 5 races here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. We're going to have a restart with Williams out front, Josh Williamson in second, Trey Bartow. Big dark horse for this one, running third. Blaine Keys, last week's winner, running in fourth. Aaron Abel is fifth. Roberto Crown Jr., Joe Rutkowski, Nathan Stapleton. Our points leader, Ludovic Charette's top 10. And Brian Rebb rounds out the top 10 in the 99. Only driver out of the race, Eric Drew from the accident. Everybody else still on the lead lap. Rogel-Dorn fell back to 31st. Nicholas Amadio running 27th. A couple of notable drivers there. And oh my goodness gracious. That is a power move if I've ever seen one.
That is a very fast Celsius Crusader pickup truck as we see Blaine Keys.
You see the inside now for the race lead. He's got to be careful, though, not to wash it up in the Williams there, but from fourth to first in one lap for Blaine Keys in the number 1.
That was ridiculous from Blaine Keys, wasn't it? He just drove up and just drove around them all. That was quite remarkable. You got Aaron Abel here in the 05. You know, he hasn't had a great year, so you know, trying to get to second place would be, I would assume, it'd be a season best for him if he could get there or get the win. Of course, that would be a season best. But you got Williamson right behind him. Andrew Williams on that outside trying to make it work. Got to be careful, as I said before. Don't want to hit that wall off of 4, but he clears, and now he can go after the 1 again. But Keys has dropped them a little bit here. 0.4 of a second.
And that one machine was really quick at Iowa last week. Of course, didn't really have the win until late, I don't think. I mean, the strategy kind of threw us for a loop there with Rogel-Dorn, but he was still able to overcome that. And now, I mean, after what we just saw right there on the restart, he is clearly the driver to beat in this race. Now, Andrew Williams, I think he's got his groove back, might try to reel him back in. Williamson's still third right there, and you got Aaron Abel and Rutkowski running in fifth. And it's a mess back here, and Ludovic Charette kind of stuck in the outside lane at the moment. Not a good place for him, especially with Diacomo there in the 82 trying to close back in. And keep in mind, you know, Diacomo wants to finish ahead of Charette. He's only 12 points behind coming into this race. If he's a bit closer going into Martinsville, he could still have a great opportunity at this championship. Williams still has a shot as well in the 52 machine, but if Blaine Keys can keep this up, maybe get a win next week. I know you guys keep on saying you got a good short track program. You can see Blaine Keys come out of nowhere and maybe steal this title away. I just don't know if he's got enough time, but we'll have to see. This is the best way he can do it, though, leading here at Chicagoland.
Well, I mean, I also think, though, we haven't really had the strongest of race programs on the 1.5 miles this year. We've seen some great qualifying runs out of this one truck, but not a full race put together, and he started out 15th, I think. He's up to first, made one of the best group of overtakes of the year to take the lead, and he's now got to hold off 2 of the guys who, honestly, I think these 2 guys have been showing out the most in the past couple of weeks, and Andrew Williams and Josh Williamson, and they're going to start racing each other, which will open Blaine up a little bit of time to get away, see the lap truck Logan Williams get out of the way, but no, this has been a remarkable run for Blaine Keys in this one truck.
That's going to be, thankfully, Thanksgiving was yesterday, because that would have been an awkward dinner between those 2 guys right there at the family dinner table. And Williams, Andrew Williams at that, is still held up by Logan Williams, and he is dropping all the way through this field. Oh my goodness. So the dominant driver of the race has fallen in the second half of the field in just 1 lap, all thanks to his brother who's holding them up. Maybe they had some sort of argument yesterday. I don't know what's going on right there, because that 39 should have gotten out of the way by now. And Rogel-Dorn's going to get around him there. And Andrew Williams will finally get around the 39. Watch out, though, as we move on throughout this race, because we're going to run into Logan Williams again. Joe Rutkowski, all of a sudden, is now up to second. Williamson is third, then it's Aaron Abel, and 3 wide there for fifth between Igor Barreto, Nathan Stapleton, and Trey Bartow.
Yeah, that's not exactly the best move. I think by the 39 to go on and do that. Don't like it when lap cars are getting in the way. We had a bit of an incident on the back into 3. No caution. Maybe Fitzwater was involved in the 54.
It looks like that may have been the case.
At the moment.
You see that in the corner of your screen right there. Lap 30 around where that occurred. Blaine Keys now pulling away here, and Logan Williams was a huge help to Blaine Keys here in this race, because he now got 1.75 on the field. And Joe Rutkowski may not quite have the truck to beat him. Another guy got held up, though, in all that was Ludovic Charette in the 14, who's pushing his way past Brian Webb right here. And he's got Bruno Diacomo 1 position behind him right now. I think it's still a win for Diacomo because he's still going to be well within reach of that 14 in these next 4 races. But still, a solid run on Ludovic Charette. Top 10 run right now for him. Hey, how about Avery Alford? We know we haven't talked too much about the driver of the 38 this season at all. He's 25th in points. Good top 10 run going for him right now here late in the season there for Big Motorsports. That team has not had much to really celebrate so far this season. Well, only unless something drastic happens, which is possible considering what we got going on here. Blaine Keys is riding off into the sunset with this one. But still 5 laps to go here in the Menards 225. Joe Rutkowski's going to try to reel him in, but he's not been able to gain any time these past few laps.
Yeah, Rutkowski's, he made a little bit of a gain once he got clear of Logan Williams, but then we see that one truck. I don't know where the speed has come from on a 1.5 miles. This one machine is just absolutely flying. Rutkowski only 300s off that lap. That is not going to be anywhere near enough. And, I mean, Blaine's going to have to get around Logan Williams and SCS Big Wreck merchant Zachary Fitzwater. If you know, you know. So we'll see if he can navigate this lap traffic a little bit better than Andrew Williams could. But coming to 3 laps to go here at the stripe, this has been an impressive drive from Blaine. Oh, boy.
Oh, that's going to slow him up a bit. What will Rutkowski and Williamson do? I don't think that's going to slow him up enough, though, because Rutkowski and Williamson are also going to do the same thing. Oh, boy. You're going to get around him a lot cleaner, but the problem is only 2 laps to go. I don't think it's going to hold up the 1 enough here. 2 laps to go here in the Menards 225. You know, Rutkowski got a lot closer right there, but not close enough. I tell you, that 39 should not be on the racetrack. And the driver who is going to be the most upset with Logan there is Andrew Williams, his brother, because Andrew was going to have such a much better run in this race. That 52 currently sits in the 28th position, and that could very well cost Andrew the championship, because if he stayed top 5, he still would have stayed well within the reach of Ludovic Charette. Now he's going to be well beyond a race going into Martinsville next week. White flags in the air for Blaine Keys, and I don't think anyone's going to get to him here, only unless something drastic happens on this final lap. And we've seen that throughout the year here on the channel. I'm pretty sure this one's going to get it.
Yeah, what a drive from Blaine Keys. He's way before the caution, and then he made the passes on the restart and has pulled away.
Blaine Keys, 2 in a row here in the Turkey Hill Truck Series. He gets the win in the Menards 225. Rutkowski and Williamson with the podium. Igor Barreto and Nathan Stapleton round out the top 5. There's Trey Bartow, Roberto Crown Jr., Avery Alford. And you got Aaron Abel and Ludovic Charette rounding out the top 10. And Diacomo just 1 position behind Ludovic there. So it's going to be 13 points going into Martinsville for Ludovic Charette in this championship. However, Joe Rutkowski is going to close in, and so will Blaine Keys and Josh Williamson. So watch out for those guys, but Sam Adio and Andrew Williams going to lose time. Sam Adio finished 20th, and Andrew Williams finishing 27th after getting stuck behind his brother there. That was definitely the biggest moment of the race, I feel like, because that completely swung the championship in a totally different direction. But Blaine Keys, you were talking to me, Matt, about how good your team was before we started recording this race. Well, now We'll have to see what the gap is here, but it's looking like Blaine Keys might have a chance at getting this title if he keeps this up in these last 4 races.
Well, that was definitely a big surprise to see that kind of speed. We've definitely seen from the team that that One Truck's program has been better on the 1.5 miles, but not to that level. And to be fair, too, as a whole, as an organization, the 2 Truck had a really nice night. Noah Clifton got a top 15 finish, so the team's come a long way the past couple weeks, back-to-back wins. I don't think we've ever done that on the channel. Shane Lake might have randomly once, but it's been a while since we've multiple wins now on the season is really cool. And yeah, we'll just keep one race at a time. Martinsville up next, and the short tracks have been our specialty so far this year, so definitely going to be an exciting closeout to the season.
No doubt about it, and it's going to be fascinating to see how these last 4 races go, because you have Martinsville. Obviously, that can go any which way with it being a short track, and probably the wildest short track we have on the schedule. Las Vegas is going to be kind of similar to this race, I feel like, but maybe not all the way. Obviously, those drivers who have the straight line speed are going to be good there. Talladega is a big wild card for the penultimate race of the season, and then we end out at Homestead, and you know, Homestead's one of those tracks where anybody can kind of get a good run there, and it's going to be fascinating to see Homestead late in a season with the ratings as full and rich as they are, because when we were there in the Cup Series, the first race of the season, everyone was essentially equal. We'll have to see how that racetrack is affected with the ratings, but like I said, not a good day for Andrew Williams, Rogel Dorn, Nicholas Sambidio. Of course, Rogel Dorn and Andrew Williams were the 2 guys who were up front when that caution came out. Rogel Dorn had a poor pit stop, and Andrew Williams got held up by his brother, and my goodness, like I said, you know, that would have been an awkward Thanksgiving if that happened, if this race was Wednesday night. Let's just put it that way. Oh boy. I can't help but think about that, because that's not the first time I've said that. I remember when Andrew made his first start in the shootout race that we used to do back in the day. I think they had a similar moment in North Wilkesboro in that special event a few years ago, and I said the same thing. Don't ask me how I remember that. I remember the most random things. Well, Stuart, what are you looking for in these next 4 races for your team? I know Nicholas Sambidio didn't have the best of runs. He's still going to be in contention, but Ludovic Jarrett had a good run. You know, how do you see this all playing out in these last 4 races?
Well, for our guys, we just need to find more speed. Just struggling to find it. We got mired in the back in the mid-pack in qualifying, and particularly at Martinsville, it's so hard to pass there, and so if you have really poor qualifying, it's going to end it's more likely than not going to end really badly. So qualifying result and then speed throughout the race. The 51 actually didn't look particularly slow, maybe just got held up in traffic, but the 23 really struggled all night. I've got to be watching for guys the Triad cars. Both Triad trucks actually finished top 5. Obviously, Blaine Keys. We know that both the 18 and the 14 as well finished top 10. Giacomo up there. So, I'd expect certainly Blaine in the 1 to be very strong next week. And I don't know. Maybe he will get back in championship contention now with 2 wins and coming up to Martinsville. So, just need to find more speed, particularly in qualifying.
We'll have to see how it all shakes out for you guys and the rest of the field. These next 4 races next Friday night, December 1st. Yes, we're already in December next week, by the way. We got ourselves the Old Dominion 250 at Martinsville. That played host to the closest finish of the Truck Series season last year with Eric Drew and Laura Chung. I'm excited for that race. That's been the race I've highlighted this whole season, especially after what we saw last year. Excited to see who gets it done there on the paperclip, under the lights on a chilly Friday night. And then it's Las Vegas, Talladega, Homestead to close out the season here in the Truck Series. And then that's it for me this year. I don't know what else Caleb has planned, but still a lot left to come here in the month of December here on AG, the channel. Hope you all stick around and enjoy. Congratulations to Blaine Keys for getting the win here in the Menards 225. We'll see you guys next week for the Old Dominion 250. And here are the points for the Turkey Hill Truck Series after 14 races. Thank you to Matt Tuck and Stuart Grant for joining me here tonight. And I will see you guys later.